All right, we're going to do a tier list. We're going to do it for the metal ranks, though. So, bronze to platinum. We're going to try to do it as fast as we can. We're not going to elaborate too much, but hopefully I can provide some insight. Okay, so, Anna. I'm saying Anna is going to be in metal ranks. Anna's an A. I think she's an A just because she can get a lot of value with her anti-nade for sure, and her ability to heal is pretty strong, although shields completely negate Anna's. I'm actually, yeah, I'm gonna keep her name. Ashe, I think, is S tier for sure. She gets a lot of value, especially with her TNT. Bob is strong in almost every competitive rank, and I think her ability to do really high damage at range is especially strong, considering she's a hit scan who can get to high ground fairly easily. BAP is also S tier. I think immortality alone makes him S tier. Um, you don't even have to heal with BAP, and still you can get a lot of value with him. Although, please heal with BAP. His ult is good. I mean, his whole kit is good. BAP's really strong. Bastion. Although the lower you get, the stronger Bastion is. I don't think Bastion is especially strong. I think in gold and platinum, people start to understand how to play around a Bastion. I'm going to put him in C tier. And I don't think there's any part of Bastion's kit that's strong, really. It requires your team to play around you, and that's just not happening in Metal Ranks. Let's be honest. Brig. The death of Overwatch. All joking aside, Brig is strong. Brig is strong, and I think every tier. I don't understand how people in bronze and silver try to insinuate that she's not meta. She should. I mean, she's really strong. She can do so much. She can heal at range with very little mechanical ability. She can. If you just know how to proc Inspire over and over, you're probably gonna win in plat and below. You're probably gonna win the game because Inspire is really strong. Great healing. Also, Briggs ult pretty much guarantees this team fight, especially gold and below. Doomfist. Doomfist is C tier. I'm sorry. Even in low ranks, yeah, you might get a kill or two on some cheesy rollout, but most Doomfists that are bad use all their cooldowns to engage, and then they're stuck, pretty useless, and they die fairly fast. Doomfist is a incredibly fun character to play, and I think a lot of people are infuriated when they die to him, but overall not very strong. Diva. Arguably one of the strongest characters in the game, but in metal ranks, most people cannot play Diva. I'm going to put her in B. Her defense matrix is extremely strong, but again, metal rank Divas usually use it to save themselves. That's not... I mean, you can definitely use it for that, but Bomb gets value, especially the lower you go, but I don't know. Diva is... Usually what Divas do is they play way in your backfield for some backline for some reason and kind of just exist, waiting for their bomb. Her bomb's her weakest part of their kit, in my opinion. But Diva's not very strong in metal ranks. Echo. Arguably the strongest character in the game, especially considering her ult can literally get any other ult she wants. That being said, I think Echo is extremely mechanically intensive and requires really precise positioning and also the understanding of when to engage and when to disengage, which people in metal ranks just don't have. I'm going to put her in C tier. No, I'm going to put her in B tier. She's too strong for C tier. But a lot of Echoes in B tier, they just kind of fly out in the middle of everyone and let themselves be shot fairly easily. Genji. Genji, I think, is weaker the higher you go, but in lower ranks he can be kind of a nuisance since he's so difficult to shoot, especially with his jumping and his deflecting. The lower you go, I think the more value Blade gets too, and Blade is fairly easy to build with Genji. Not that strong, but also not necessarily weak in the metal ranks, especially. Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball is my favorite character in the game. I said it. A lot of people are going to hate me for that. And he is S tier, I think, in plat and above, but this also includes bronze, silver, and gold, and because of that reason, most people don't play Wrecking Ball correctly. They telegraph what they're going to do, and he's easily countered because there's so much crowd control in the game. Great character, though. Don't let anyone tell you that Wrecking Ball is not a great character. Hanzo. Hanzo's a really good character. I think his ability to climb walls alone make him strong, but unfortunately, mechanically, he's somewhat intensive, although his spam can be a little cheesy. I'm going to put him high B tier because even sonar alone gets value, just shooting it randomly sometimes. Hanzo's good, and Hanzo is great if you can hit your headshots. Really good. Junkrat. Most metal rank players hate playing against Junkrat. And in the metal ranks, he gets so much value. He's S tier. Junkrat can completely shut down certain approaches, and people just don't adjust. That's why Junkrat's so strong in metal ranks. They don't adjust. They see the incoming damage, and they just allow it to happen. Also, his ult is fairly easy to build, and it usually gets a kill. Lucio's B tier in metal ranks, and it's because most Lucios just don't play the character right. Also, in my opinion, I think he should really only be paired with a Reinhardt. But people watch Red Shell and they think they can do that. They don't realize Red Shell is very gifted when it comes to playing video games. Please, if you're going to play Lucio, focus on helping your team. That's the point of the character. Okay, so I got a text message. Let me just clear that. All right. Cole Cassidy. I'm going to put Cole Cassidy in A. Why not S? Well, because I think his damage fall off hurt him a lot, especially the hit scan damage fall off. Although Flashbang, Phantom Hammer is the bane of a lot of, I think, gold and below's existence. His ult's not super strong. It can get value, but ultimately Cassidy is not as strong as he once was. Mei, probably the most underrated character in the game, in my opinion. Although I do think it requires some amount of game sense to use her appropriately, I'm going to put her in A tier. I think, especially in metal ranks, people will fall for the wall over and over and over and over. And that is just she also fairly survivable, which is strong when you're a DPS character. Mercy. Very popular, probably the most popular support character in the middle ranks. Although, unfortunately, I don't think people play her correctly. I think you should really be focusing on doing more damage beam than healing beam. And a lot of metal rank Mercies, I see them just attached to their main tank, just healing their Reinhardt, and their Reinhardt doesn't even need heals. So for that reason, she's not S, but she is strong in metal ranks. Very strong. Moira is an S tier in metal ranks. Absolutely. For her orbs and coalescence alone. It doesn't even matter what else is in her kit. Those get so much value in metal ranks, she's got to be S tier. Orisa. A lot of people play Orisa incorrectly. They don't rotate away fast enough, and they just allow the damage and the brawl to get to them. And for that reason, a lot of people just die with Orisa in metal ranks, and that's unfortunate because the character is actually very strong, and I think the higher you get, the more value you can get with Orisa. Vara. This is the first person in Overwatch I one-tricked, and she used to be extremely strong, especially on console, but now I think she is also C tier because a lot of Faras, they don't really position her correctly and they're fairly easy to kill. One of the hardest ultimates in the game to do properly too. A lot of people can't do Pharah Barrage. I'm one of them. Metal Rank Reaper. I'm going to put Metal Rank Reaper in A tier. Reaper gets a lot of value. His phase allows him to kind of make positional mistakes without any repercussions. His ult can get a lot of value in metal ranks, although I don't think it's particularly strong. It will get value in metal ranks. And teleport alleviates one of Reaper's biggest issue, and that's his mobility. But Reaper, very strong in metal ranks, not a bad pick at all. I'm going to give, this is going to be a hot take, but I'm going to give Reinhardt an S rank in metal ranks just because Reinhardt is very straightforward. I think a lot of people get value with Reinhardt, especially because really all you have to do is hold your shield and you're getting some value. Reinhardt's biggest struggle is getting to the fight, and in metal ranks, they just don't burst him down fast enough to prevent him from getting to the brawl, which means he's really strong. Roadhog is also an S tier. I think Roadhog is probably the strongest tank in the metal ranks, just because he's so forgiving. If you make a big positional mistake, you can just walk around the corner and heal yourself. Also, people will give you hooks. Gold and below people will give you hooks all day, make you feel like a god. Sigma is very, very strong, but I'm only going to put him in a A because, again, metal rank players I don't think play him appropriately, and they don't really cycle his cooldowns efficiently, and that's where he becomes super strong. His rock is pretty much useless in metal ranks. So that's a tough ability to hit, and I think his ult is strong, but a lot of people allow themselves to get stunned out of it. So, yeah, Sigma not a bad choice. Not very strong in metal ranks though, unless you're playing him right, of course. Soldier is absolutely S tier, 100%. He can heal himself and has a DPS. That's just strong enough. That's already strong enough in metal rank. I think his ult is super strong in gold and below because people, again, their positioning's bad. And Helix Rocket, I think underrated. Helix Rocket is like on cooldown. Just use it, throw it. Sombra can be extremely strong, but unfortunately in metal rank she's not because it requires your team to follow up on her hacks, which rarely happens. EMP is still strong, I think, in every rank in the game, but people are just not consistent with her. They're not conservative enough with their teleport, and they just end up dying a lot. Symmetra, this is maybe controversial, but I'm putting her S tier. Metal rank, dude, Symmetra. I've lost a lot of games against Symmetra because people just won't even kill her turrets, right? Let's not even talk about her teleporter and how cheesy that is on certain maps. Also, I think her ult is one of the strongest ults in metal ranks. Usually guarantees a team fight. Torb is also S tier. And you're starting to see there's a little bit of a trend. A lot of characters are strong in metal ranks just because you don't necessarily have to worry about mental mistakes, and Torb punishes mental mistakes probably more than any character because his turret is the best player on the field. Let's be real. Also, Molten Core, fairly simple, fairly straightforward. People usually get value with it. Torb's strong, especially his shotgun. Tracer, I'm putting in B tier. Although, in my opinion, Tracer is the best character in the game. You have to be a god to be good with Tracer. Not for mechanically struggling players. You have to be very smart, have to have good game sense, you have to have good positioning, you have to have good resource management. Tracer's tough. Hardest ult in the game to get value with, maybe outside of Winston's ult, but we'll get there. In metal ranks. Widowmaker. I'm going to put her in C tier. Widowmaker is very mechanically intensive. If you're not hitting shots, you're kind of not getting a super amount of value with Widowmaker, let's be honest. And the rest of her kit only benefits people who are, positionally smart, and that just, again, it's not happening as much in metal ranks. A lot of Widowmakers in metal ranks, and they're not the best Widowmakers. Winston. Okay, Winston, I love Winston. I think his character design and lore is awesome, but he is absolutely, he just doesn't get value in metal ranks. His bubble especially, that's the big issue. People just don't use his bubble correctly, and a lot of Winstons, especially in plat, for whatever reason, die as they land. It's crazy. Not very valuable. Although I think Zarya is overall a weak tank, I think she's pretty good in metal ranks just because once she has high charge and she has a self bubble, she's kind of unkillable. And because of that, I think she's somewhat strong. Yeah, her grab alone means she can't go below B, in my opinion, in metal ranks. So yeah, Zarya pretty strong. Zenyatta, I'm also going to put in B rank just because I think Zenyatta is very easy to punish. And again, if you're in metal ranks, you're probably making positional mistakes. You're probably not tracking ults, and you're probably not tracking ability cooldowns. All that I think is important with Zenyatta. Also, stop volley every 10 seconds. Like, use your primary fire. It's stronger than you realize. You don't have to volley to get a kill. But yeah, I think that's if I made any adjustments, I'd probably put Bastion and Doomfist in D tier, and just to utilize that tier. But yeah, that's the final adjustment. So yeah, these are how I would rank the characters season 33 in Overwatch, specifically for metal ranks. And if you disagree, just remember, I'm right and you're wrong.